Hey guys, Destiny right here, and I wanted to do a quick video, just kind of giving you guys a bit of information about RESPA, for those of you who are um going through like foreclosure, or you just kind of want to understand some alternatives and some ways that you can kind of get information from either the finance company or from your title company. A lot of people are having trouble getting information to be given to them when requested. Um, so I'm just going ahead and gonna go over something that is called the RESPA, which is short for the Real Estate Settlement Procedure Act. And for those of you who don't know what RESPA is, what it stands for, what that actually means to homeowners, people at all stages of ownership, whether they've just purchased or they've been in their home for quite some time and they are experiencing, you know, bankruptcy, foreclosure court cases, or anything like that. The Real Estate Settlement Procedure Act is basically a set of guidelines that they have a federal outline, but then by each state, they have more of the flesh and bones detailing how it works and what resources they have within that state. That basically is going to state that if you make a simple request to the title company or to the finance company who you got your mortgage or your you know got your home loan through, they have to provide you with certain information upon your request. A lot of the times, because this information can be kind of incriminating on their end and kind of exposes some of the things that they've been doing on the outskirts, because most people don't usually ask for these certain things or pieces of information. They oftentimes are reluctant to willingly give this information up. So one of the other sources that you can go through is through the title company and or the property county records like the deed, the recorders. Um, but you also have some remedy as far as what statutes and guidelines that you can you know, point out or you can reference when you are sending in your documents, your request, when you are speaking to them. They don't have the option to opt out. And if they do decide to either stall you, that basically means that they're not complying and giving you the information, or if they don't give it to you within a certain time frame, that part is going to vary. The time frame is going to vary by state to state, whichever state that you're in. So what I'm going to do really quick is I'm going to pull this up and I'm going to kind of go over a little bit of this uh, act, this Real Estate Settlement Procedure Act for you guys to kind of get a better understanding. I kind of have some free time and a burst of energy. To be able to put this together for you. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Now, of course, we are not going to dive into the full schematics. I definitely just want to give you guys something to go off of and for you to, basically take this information and do your own research, especially on a state to state level, because it will change. I want to go ahead and share my screen real quick. So let me go ahead and do that. My screen is sharing. You should be able to see what I have here. And let me go here. Real estate oh, settlement. There you go. Look. Okay, click. There it is. RESPA. As I was just showing you guys. You can look here. It is, like I was saying, RESPA, commonly referred to as, RESPA. It is um, basically a way for homeowners to protect themselves during the process of purchasing and after purchasing residential property. Of course, some of the rules as far as buying commercial property is going to be a bit different. Now, mind you, for those of you who don't know, but if you're buying a duplex, a triplex, or a fourplex, any single family or residential loan that you get will actually cover a property up until 4 units. Once that property that you have is 5 units or more, it is no longer considered residential, single family, and does not follow necessarily under these guidelines per se. The details and um, yeah, so the details and the dynamics, you would have to kind of search again your local states to see what falls under there. But any property 5 units and up is considered commercial, and you can even go through and qualify for a traditional single family loan and actually get up into a fourplex. Okay, just FYI, it's another little tidbit that I threw in there, but it's designed to protect basically home buyers from getting taken advantage of by the mortgage companies, by the home appraisers, and by the other service providers as well. So let me go ahead and click a bit on here. Now, you can also read more about it at the CFPB's website, Consumer Finance Financial Protection Bureau. If you see here, they have more information about it. This is more so on a federal level. There are tons of resources through here that you can sort through to be able to find what you're looking for. There also must be plenty of disclosures, oftentimes contracts that people apply for, credit cards, leases, bank accounts, mortgage loans, student loans, any type of consumer credit transaction. They are supposed to and they are required to make all of these disclosures. Oftentimes, they will put little to none, if any. And so, including the one for rescission, which means that you can even do a partial rescission, meaning that you are taking back your authorization because majority of the contracts are stating that they need to assign the security interest. They are making a transfer to themselves and to their rights and or heirs and assigns. The problem is they don't make an adjustment to the balance and credit you for what they've taken. You know, and benefited from in simpler words. So if you can see here, the Real Estate Settlement Procedure Act is to help industry participants understand, implement, and comply with the RESPA Act and with Regulation X. So here's a featured topic. On September of last year, the CFPB released a non-exhaustive list, meaning that this list will continue to grow. And because the things that is not on here currently or at the time that they first created the list, because those things may not, or certain things may not be on there at that time, they, it's not all inclusive. It can officially be added onto that published list at some time in the future. Um, but on September 2023, the CFPB released a non-exhaustive list of HUD issued rules. These rules are official, and then these interpretations or any policy statements will continue to be applied today by the Bureau. Now, as far as one of the first things that you want to ask for is you want to ask for what's called your HUD 1 statement. That will give you a complete list at the onset, and that is even before it's been traded because it's common knowledge that as soon as you close on the mortgage, they are already transferred the contract to someone else, whether it be an individual note investor or an entity, some type of organization, and then they've placed it, if it is a corporation, they've placed it in a type of REMIC, which is real estate mortgage investment company. It's a conduit, right? It's basically SPV, a special purpose vehicle, or just something that they're using because banks aren't allowed to own property in their name, and they're technically, according to their own rules and regulations, their banking codes, they're not allowed to lend their own funds. So because they're not allowed to use their own funds and own property in their own official name, they use conduits or like decoys. like REMICs and REITs, which REIT is a real estate investment trust, in order to transact, do business, hold title, and things like that. So, if you ask for the HUD-1 statement, it's going to show a list of all the credits and things like that that was withheld from the mortgage, from the transaction, ergo from you. Oftentimes, it will not be fully exhaustive because they do not account oftentimes for the security transfer, but you will see something of sort of a ledger on both sides where there are debits and credits that will show that at least something was withheld from you. Um, as far as security interests, just know that however much of the loan that you applied for, not just the amount that was approved to you, because sometimes that could also be lessened. Like, say for example, if you were applying for $100,000 loan to get a property, and they stated that they would only give you 80% LTV. LTV means loan to value, meaning that if you requested $100,000, that they'll give you only 80%, which is $80,000, and then the other remaining $20,000, you would have to figure out a way on your own or take what's called a junior mortgage or a second mortgage to make up for the balance if you didn't have it. That's pretty much what LTV is and how it operates. The thing is, sometimes it will show a balance like that. Sometimes it won't, approve your application at all. You'll get a flat out denial. Even though, yes, of course, you have a remedy as far as adverse action. A lot of you guys are very savvy as far as being able to respond to their adverse action, correct? Because that is a violation of ECOA, which is the Equal Credit Opportunity Act. Which we can talk a bit about that a little bit later, and a following video that I will do for you guys. But because I want to make sure that I stay on topic with RESPA and crank out as many of these videos tonight as I can, so that I can release them, accordingly over time, so that you guys can get them and not be too saturated with the information, because I do run multiple channels, and then I do have like my personal podcast channel that I have been making content and footage for tonight as well, so that I can kind of clean that up a bit and put that out. Um, that I kind of do just to blow off some steam from all these facts and figures all the time. It's exhausting. Um, so as far as with the HUD-1 statement, it will show some of the things that they are withholding. Most of the time, people don't even know to ask for that, let alone how to read it or what it's supposed to have and what it's not supposed to have. So that's why I'm going to take this time to go and make this video, so that you guys can kind of get a bit of understanding for yourself. So here are some regulations and some official interpretations here. You're going to look through Regulation X, which is also presented in the code here, which is 12 CFR 1024. Now, mind you, I want to let you guys know that when you see CFR and it is referring to a statute or code, there's two definitions or two bodies of statutes and codes that it could be referring to. You have the civil rules of uh, federal regulations here in this case, and some of the main RESPA provisions and official interpretations. It can be found basically here. I'm going to let you guys see these. 1024.1, that is regarding scope, meaning how far, wide, and how deep, um, how tall, and whatnot. As far as the meets and the bounds, basically, of what they are going to cover. So what's covered under that chapter and what's not included. That's basically scope. And as far as dimension. Chapters 6 through 13 and 16 is going to go over the applications and the origination of the mortgage loans. I'm not going to go too deep into that, but that is a good um, starting point for you guys who are trying to get a better understanding for your own, for your own interests, but also if you are trying to, like maybe represent yourself or give, like if you are in pro se, you represent yourself or moving in propria persona, which is proper person. If you are trying to give more information to maybe a friend, a colleague, a relative, or if you did retain legal counsel, give them another avenue as far as where to look, or something to, give them to go off of. The other thing is in chapters 14 and 15 of 1024 is they're covering kickbacks, unearned fees, and also known as unearned interest, and other payments that they collect when they don't credit the accounts. Because just because everybody here who's going to be watching this video is at different levels of understanding, anytime when you get, and I'm speaking because and I'm going to gear this towards mostly for home mortgages because that's what the RESPA is. It's catered towards for, residential real estate property and the Settlement Procedures Act. Um, when you are uh, whether you've acquired a mortgage or a deed, depending on what state you're in, right? That contract is going to have two parts. It's going to have a promissory note, which is the first form of security that they trade and monetize on the market. They take that promissory note because you do what's called a blank endorsement. Most people just put their signature. They don't put anything else on like the back of it, which normally banks and other financial institutions, including courtrooms and the IRS, will turn their back over and they'll endorse it to themselves, or whichever entity it is, they're going to endorse it to themselves. And then on the front part, most people leave that part blank. On the front part, they usually just leave a blank signature. They don't use any what's called qualifiers, which means they're restricting. It's basically a restrictive endorsement. There's endorsements with an I, and then there's endorsement with the E. One is for the back, which is like the one with the E, and the one for endorsement with the I is basically who they're making the payment to on the front or the face of the instrument, be it a check, a draft, a money order, a promissory note. It could be the monthly bill coupons that you get at the bottom of your monthly statements, any of those type of instruments, or any other kind that I might not have listed. I've just given a list of examples. Whenever they're taking those, um, they are securitizing those and they are getting paid through the Treasury. But because you put a blank endorsement, that is what's called a bearer bond. And they are taking those bearer bonds because it didn't have any restrictions on to who could cash them and how and to what limitations. It's basically free money. And they've essentially taken that instrument and they've been cashed out, but they didn't credit you because you again left it blank. So the next instrument would be the actual mortgage if you live in a state that has mortgage, or it's the deed if you live in a deed state. Most of the time, you will see in deed states, you will see foreclosures and things like that happening, but you don't have to go before a judge, which is really an administrative law judge, in order for you to foreclose on that type of property, on that person's property. And sometimes, depending on the state, they do want you to go through court but it's still expedited and it's less leeway, like less burdensome than if it was a mortgage statement, a state, and they can kind of hurry along the process if you are in a D state. Well, anyway, that HUD-1 statement will list those things on there. Oftentimes, it won't list to that extent of that detail because that's what's considered an unregistered security. They didn't register it because they'd have to register it in your name, but because you did not put any restrictions when you signed it, they're basically keeping it, but they're not crediting you for it and stating that, hey, you have to pay this amount for the next 30 years or whatnot. Um, and then you have here about escrow accounts for subchapter 17. And then you have home ownership counseling and then mortgage servicing. Everyone knows that mortgage servicing has to deal with the payments that are made monthly after you've already closed on your loan, um, which is really a security installment contract or a retail loan. It's also a security agreement. A lot of times, like you will see the documents actually listed as that. Hardly everywhere you see that it's a loan, you won't see them on the same document. You'll see them look like they were, bifurcated, which bifurcated means split in half, or the documents were split into two different types of documents, and you're going to see them titled differently, oftentimes. So here are some guides and things for you guys, for you to oversee and to kind of, do a little digging, do a little research. This is how the Bureau supervises and it examines these companies under its purview, under its jurisdiction for compliance with the federal consumer financial laws. Okay, so here's the RESPA, here's the mortgage origination examination procedures that I was mentioning to you. Here's the examination procedures for servicing, and then here's the policy guidance on supervisory and enforcement considerations that are relevant to mortgage brokers that are transitioning to many correspondent lenders. And then you have, of course, the compliance bulletins. Oh my God, that was a lot of talking. Let me swallow this bit. And then you have like their marketing service agreements. Now, why is a marketing service agreement important? Because if they are advertising to you either on their website, in person, through their actual loan application, or I'm gonna call it loan, but for sake, a lack of a better, because it's out of repetition, but most people identify and recognize it as a loan. It's really a security agreement or installment contract. Without going through those documents, you're going to see that they may use certain language and say that this person is obligated to perform either by payment or action, doing this and that, and etc. All of these different things, but they're advertising it as a loan. But the problem is, did they really lend you anything? And the answer would be no, in case you didn't know. And I just explained to you what happened and how that is. You can go through here and see some advisory opinions. Now, of course, opinion isn't law, but or nor statute, but it does give you a perspective to look into to kind of gauge as a point of reference to kind of gauge where you kind of sit with. Here's some FAQs. You have the Bureau that it's going to provide a list of the um, what's called FAQs, and then, of course, some what I like to call SAQs, which are what I call should ask questions. They're going to answer them on particular topics that's going to help you to understand and comply with the RESPA and also with Regulation X. Um, I'm going to maybe click on some of those FAQs just in just a second, but I wanted to kind of get through this page really quick and see that hey, there are some additional materials. Again, we talked about what that word non-exhaustive list meant of the HUD issued official rules, the interpretations, or the policy statements that continue to be applied today by the CFPB. The reason why they have their interpretations instead of just the official rules, because oftentimes, as in any statute or code or even law, depending on whom the person is, who's enforcing or who has the advantage, meaning it's usually the finance company of any kind, right? They will, or even sometimes the administrative law judges and public venue courts or regular courts, right? Civil or whatnot. They oftentimes will twist or pervert or use the statutes and codes to, kind of twist it to their benefit, and they tried to apply it in ways that it was not intended to be applied. So they have published a list of actual interpretations in addition to the official rules. So that is to help circumvent people who are in power or who have the financial advantage over the client, uh, from being able to do that. So here are some other RESPA applicable documents. I'm going to click on these real quick, and I'm going to show you these after we get through this list. but here you can see these escrow disclosure appendices or appendixes that were removed from CFR, and then they were converted into public guidance documents by HUD, way since like 1996. You guys are going to be able to view those documents there. I'll kind of um, breeze through them. And then you got here some specific RESPA and Regulation X provisions, okay, that relate to TRID, the TRID rule. They are discussed in more detail on the TILA RESPA integrated disclosure page. Now, if you are familiar with TILA, TILA is the Truth in Lending Act that a lot of people like to reference, just so that you can kind of get a brief understanding of where you may have been encountering TILA. Say, for example, if you're looking, you just got something financed, like a credit card, like a loan or something, an auto loan, right? There's usually like these boxes that will highlight. There's sometimes two sets of boxes. One will be like, section H, which will cover like OC10, which is operating circular 10 on lending. Basically, it's stating that you as the applicant are giving the company whom you're applying with a limited power of attorney to act on your behalf and submit documents, sign off on them in your stead, and they don't necessarily disclose what all of those documents are that they are doing. They just will confer to you that they are necessary documents. Things like that is what the RESPA is seeking to force them to have to disclose to you, right? And so that's regulation H. But then we're talking about X, and we're talking about TILA. That's basically discovering what the total finance charge is and seeing what it is there. And that should not include any type of percentage of anything or any extra fees, down payments, or any of that nonsense that they're trying to ask for additionally outside of the total finance charge, because the finance charge is the total sum of all charges. And all the extra stuff that they try to add and throw in there really violates TILA. So what they've done is, because RESPA is for specifically real estate, but they are using a financial product, which would be a mortgage or a deed, because it is having to do with a security and or what's supposed to be a finance contract, right? Um, it kind of specifies together there. They have an integration on that disclosure page. And then it's going to talk to you guys here a bit about TRID, and trade is what I was just describing, the TILA RESPA integrated disclosure page. And then lastly, covering some specific RESPA and Regulation X provisions regarding mortgage servicing, where you will be basically paying to the company that was your finance company originally. But once they sold the contract immediately, they've become what's called a DSCR. That's a debt collection service representative, that they are essentially collecting those same monthly payments, and they're keeping, certain amount of fees for doing the collection and getting the money, and enforcement and follow up, but they're paying it over to the investor, the majority of it for them purchasing that contract from under them, and making that assignment. So those are things that you can go to and go visit and get a bit more information about. So here's an email address if you need to go and see where you can email things. And let's go and let pause this really quick, guys. Um, I have a bit of disturbance here in the video. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure here that we had a continuation there because we had some. Okay, so I've scrolled back up to the front of the page and um besides clicking on those things, because I do want to keep this video kind of short, not too long. Um, I do want to pull up because you can go through this. I've shown you, where this is at, right? You can go to type in RESPA in your search bar. You can also go to the CFPB website directly and hit the search bar for this. But here's what I was wanting you to see. HUD one statement. All right. Now, here's a standardized mortgage lending document. That is what the HUD-1 statement is, okay? And it is used in real estate transactions in the US. Look, it's bringing me right back to CFPB. But it's going to show all the charges and the credits to the buyer and to the seller conversely in a real estate settlement or if all the charges are in a mortgage refinance. Now, if you applied for a mortgage on or before October 3rd, 2015, or if you are applying for a reverse mortgage, you receive a HUD-1 and transactions that don't include a seller, such as a refinance loan. The settlement agent may use the shortened version. That's why I said earlier that a lot of the HUD-1 statements won't have the entire bit of information. It is up to you to go and kind of know what's supposed to be there or not, and to ask. And if you don't know, to even look or what you should be expecting. Hey, that's why I'm making this video. Now you need to, keep in mind that again, this is general consumer information. I'm not giving you legal advice, lawful, advice maybe. And giving you, a bit of background on what you can do or where you can look for answers for more information. And if you did apply for a mortgage on them before October of 2015, or if you're getting a reverse mortgage, you will receive a HUD-1 statement in transactions that don't include a seller, such as maybe refinancing. That settlement agent may use the shortened version of that form. Now, if you did apply for something after 2015 for most kinds of mortgages, you will also get a form called the closing disclosures instead of a HUD-1. Okay. Um, it's not standard, but it is becoming more and more practice. Um, so after if you purchased or closed after 2015 or refinanced after 2015 of October, um, you'll get the closing disclosure. And I'm going to go into that in just a second. Now, you will not receive a loan estimate or closing disclosure if you are shopping for certain things. That would include a reverse mortgage, a home equity line of credit, which is otherwise known as a HELOC. That is basically taking the equity, which, hint guys, is already yours. It is just sitting there. They're not lending you anything. They're just drawing off the credits that's already in the equity, whether you know it or not. they're literally already drawn on the equity that's already been put into the home, either by the previous owners and or by you. If it's just a brand new home or if it's, an existing home. Now, you can also look into the next thing, which is the manufactured housing or mobile home loan that is not secured by real estate, and also by subordinate loan, which I was describing to you earlier about a junior loan, like if you had like a junior mortgage or lien against the property for like any remaining balances, or if you had like maybe a mechanics type of lien for maybe getting some work done on the house and you didn't make the payments for that for whatever your reason might be, right? Or even if it's even valid in the first place. But yeah, those are examples of subordinate loans or liens through certain types of homeowner or home buyer assistance programs. Now, for these kinds of loans, you should receive, of course, the TILA disclosures. And if you are shopping for reverse mortgages, you'd also get that GFE, which is a good faith estimate, and what's called a HUD 1 statement or HUD 1A settlement statement, and you can go and click on those things and read a bit more about them yourself. I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm just gonna really um I'm just gonna really end the video like right here, okay? And I want to make sure that you guys know that I am going to be making more content like this, kind of things for you to look into. Um, if you wanted to do more one-on-one, kind of get more assistance and following up with this, I also do have consultations where I will review your actual contract with you and I will put it in from legalese to what I call simplese so that even the layman or the, everyday person can understand the vernacular and put it into everyday language for you because I have noticed over time, even, and it doesn't matter how credentialed the person is. I've gotten lots of clients that are at different education levels. Some have gone to college, some are even literal brain surgeons with like 2 and 3 PhDs. Um, but because they did not take this field up as far as reading contracts and things like that, they don't have a clue as far as where to start to look for some sort of understanding. A lot of these words in legalese don't have the same meaning as they do in everyday language and vice versa. So when you are reading a legal document, like a lease, a mortgage, a credit card application, um, any enrollment or registry form of any kind, whether it be for a state ID, a passport, opening a bank account, any of those things, what you need to do is look from top to bottom as if um you don't know what nothing on that page means. And when you come with the mindset that you don't know what anything on that page means, go and look up even some of the simple words like person, children, things like that. Those words mean totally different things than you think that they mean, even words such as human beings. So, for example, a person can also be referring to a legal fiction like Walmart, right? The court, a hotel, you know, let's say Walmart, Toyota, Mercedes. All of those are examples of a person because it is what a legal fiction. It is not necessarily, let's just say natural person and put that adjective in front of it, it is usually referring to anyone, any type of entity, including an individual. So it is not going to be an open and shut case, pun intended, as far as what the interpretation of these words mean. Now, the other thing is you need to look at words like, for example, children. Children is not talking about your flesh and blood, but your flesh and blood is actually referring to that child's estate, right? Because everyone has one, but if you don't have a will or a trust that's intact, for that estate, the state that you live in and the county, the city, etc., different governmental units, or whether they're the main, which is federal person or federal person, or if it's on a more local scale or some other type of, political governmental subunit, right? They are going to exercise some sort of control because there's no will, or no one basically commanding the ship, shall I say, of the vessel. But children is actually referring to the estate and not to the flesh and blood. That is why they refer to the word as offspring. Even the word wife, husband, and spouse are legal terms and not lawful words. That's why you would have, man, a woman. Words like that is what is used, when they're speaking of common law or they're speaking of trust law, law of the land, and they're not using any statutory, verbiage in order to basically decept you guys, or to deceive you guys into basically offering more, performing on things that wasn't your obligation or place to actually take, any actions for. I think that'd be a good point of topic to kind of randomly make shorts or things like that, kind of letting you guys know what you can and can't, I mean, what you can and can't, not that, excuse me, but where you can look for certain words and things like that. I'm gonna advise you guys to, you don't necessarily have to buy a hard copy of the books of the dictionaries, because there's so many versions of the different dictionaries, legal dictionaries, that are available for free. 99. That's right. You can get it at a freemium if you just put in a quick search. I like to use Bing because it gives me points on things that I'm already doing anyway, like searching, and then it gives you an option to do other things like quizzes, points, and stuff like that. And when I was in college, when I first discovered that they had even just started doing it back in those days, when they first started the Prime um, subscription, right? I've been a long time subscriber. Um, you know, I had a little bit more time to kind of just do the polls, the activities, and the other things like that, and little fun trivia quizzes. But maybe I don't have time for that stuff now. Okay, I got stuff to do, so I don't really have that much time to be able to do that. So I just do the searches. I do enough of those. I don't get paid for making that type of thing. I'm just letting you know this is what I do, and I like to trade mine out for Amazon gift cards, or like in $5 increments. You can trade them for whatever you want to trade them for, though. It doesn't have to be, Amazon gift cards, so that they got discounts and other, like, things like that. You can go and check that out. But anyway, do a quick search, right? And whatever pops up on the SERP, which is short for search engine results page, the SERP. Okay. I have to kind of catch myself to not be speaking industry or tech lingo. That'll be talking over your heads. I kind of want everybody to be on the same page with me, right? Um, so yeah, you definitely want to make sure that you are, kind of looking for these different legal dictionaries. You have Valentine's, you have Bouvier, you have, of course, everyone knows about Black's Law Dictionary. That is one of the most popular, the most talked about, and I'm almost so tired of hearing about it. But all of these different, books have different editions, different versions. And if you are representing yourself, regardless of what type of court case, whether it be for civil or, criminal and whatnot, if you are seeking representation or you want to understand how you should submit your court documents and what rules there are, because a lot of the times you'll run into, especially if you're representing or, presenting yourself or speaking on your own behalf, shall I say, a lot of the times, the clerks there will like to try to make legal determinations, tell you what you can and you can't do. And it's like, I'm sorry, ma'am, sorry, sir, but you are not authorized, you're not able nor qualified to make a legal determination to tell me what types of documents can or cannot be filed, what they must look like, and what elements they should or should not have. But just so that you can have a better understanding of what they can and can't do, their meets and bounds, their scope of authority, right? Which is literally nothing. Essentially, they're literally just there to follow whatever you give them. Um, but you can go through what's called the federal rules of civil procedure if it's a federal court case or if it's a local court case. And then they also have like the state federal, state federal, the state rules of civil procedure. There's usually a book inside the courthouses, the law libraries. You can also go and Google search or your county, your state, your or the federal version of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure so that you can get a better understanding of format, elements that need to be on there, etc., how many days you need to send something, who you need to send it to, all of those details in order for you to present a valid case and not have it ignored, rejected, or thrown out. Um, yeah. The other thing is, besides going through the civil rules of procedure, is that you need to having a brain fart. Oh my God. That's because I'm tired. I've been putting down work, y'all. I literally will be up 16 hours a day since I have been feeling a bit better. For those of you who know, I have been in and out of hospital this year. I have went what 5 times this year for my health. Um, uh, indigestion for digestion, things like that. I was sick as a dog. And as soon as I get a little better, my doctors are telling me, yeah, must be trying to work. And you aren't feeling well, you need to rest and relax. And I said, okay, you know what? I was forced to do that. I was forced to do just that this past fall. After all this year going through doing what I wanted to do, which was make sure I get this stuff off my virtual desk so that I don't have to look at it and it's not hanging over my head. It's incomplete because I hate that. But I was literally forced to sit my A double Z down and I started to feel better after a while. Kind of didn't want to come back to work, to be quite honest with you. But I had to. I had some woman obligations and whatnot, and the show must go on. So I actually kind of took a trip out of state. First time traveling by myself. Went to New York, and as soon as I came back, like that very freaking weekend, I came back. I had a car accident. So I'm gonna end up going back to the hospital. So I have not gone to the hospital for being sick, but I went back for having injuries. So, yeah, that's been real fun having to go to all these different appointments, physical therapy, and like other things like that. I've gotten so much of my energy back. I don't know how long this is last, so I'm kind of on like an energy high. I haven't taken supplements though to kind of help with that. Um, so yeah, I just been, especially today, I've been cranking out returns. I've made content for 2 different videos. I've trained my team. We did a practice exam, uh, so that they can, we did a practice exam today. We went over a lot of things, so. Busy. So I'm just gonna go ahead, guys. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned because I am going to upload more content, more video like this regularly. Um, I said it on my other channel. I'm gonna say it now. A lot of the times, besides my health, the lack of time because I've been playing catch up, excuse me, has been my need for perfection to try to make sure that I get all of this um I wanted to look perfect. I wanted to have all these certain things and all of that. And I was just saying, you know what? Like right now, the graphics on this isn't as HD 100% clear as I would like it to have been, right? And so, maybe I need to look into the type of camera or stuff like that. But in the meantime, hey, it's doing what I needed to do, it's serving its purpose. So I'm going to keep using it. I've seen that there are different features that are added that will allow me to stream straight to my YouTube channels. So I'm gonna look into that on how to play around with that to see how it works. But in the meantime, guys, like I said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Share this with your friends. You can share the clips of this or so on social media so that you guys can, get the message. If you do want one-on-one consulting, of course, I have space for paid consults. I have my calendar link. I would put my calendar link so that you guys can book directly with me in the comment section, but apparently YouTube doesn't like that anymore. And so if you are wanting a way to follow up with me in reference to doing one-on-one to either do, for example, your tax and do recoupment for the abandoned or the unclaimed funds, or to follow up with me in reference to that. If you wanted to follow up with me in reference to doing a review of either your contracts and agreements and or tax return, or if you just wanted me to do an advisory, kind of show you, the ropes, where to look, and how everything works, relating to, my covered areas and whatnot. And, you can just, put your email there in the comment section or something. And I'm gonna put my email address in the comments as well for you guys to be able to follow up with. Now, keep in mind, we are playing catch up because I was out and about, out for the count for a good minute. So my inbox is a tad, unless it's, when I say tad, I mean very, full. So I have been knocking things down, getting those things taken care of off of that list. So I will start with those first. Um, all right. So outside of like sharing and liking, sharing, and subscribing to this video and to this channel, definitely make sure that you hit that bell notification off to the right, because I've been noticing that, and not just on my channel, but on other YouTube content creator channels as well, that the subscribers, the subbies, don't always get the notification. Either they don't get it at all or they don't get it on time whenever, something has been uploaded, something has been dropped for you guys to consume and, eat up. And all of these, you know, good folks are putting in all this work for you guys not to get the notifications. Like, no. Definitely make sure you hit that double bell button so that you are able to review. Um, it as soon as it is uploaded. Okay, well, that's it, guys. My name is Destiny Ray. I am the fairy godmother of finance at Tax Making Accounting. And well, probably one of the next videos is going to be me going over the changes that we're going to be presenting next tax season, and how we're going to be operating. We have a whole lot of changes that we're going to be rolling out, right? And so you don't want to miss it. Um, I'm signing off.